Hold the line.
Yeah? Loud and clear. On the job.
Got my missile launcher right here.
That one's done.
Got my missile launcher right here. Got my missile launcher right here. Got my missile launcher right here.
Laying the foundation.
Got my missile
Upgrade
launcher right
complete.
here.
Going up.
Got my missile launcher right
Gunship
here.
reporting in.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Is
Got
there
my
a
missile
threat?
launcher right here.
Need a
Yeah?
delivery, General?
It'll be a
Got
nice
my
view.
missile
Launcher
That
right
one's
here.
done.
Let me launch one, huh?
Have a job for me? Made in the US of A.
Composite armor installed, sir. You want the best? Here I am.
Let's get to work. Let's get to work.
I've seen it all.
Let's get to
Got my
work.
missile launcher right here.
Where
Got
are we
my
going?
missile
Let's
launcher
get to
right
work.
here. Got my missile launcher right here. Got my missile launcher right here. Got my missile launcher right here. Let's pop some tanks. Got my missile launcher right here. Got my missile launcher right here. Got my missile
Any
launcher
more
right here.
projects?
Got my missile launcher right here.
Our base is being attacked!
Right here.
Unit lost.
Got my missile launcher right here.
Keeping it cool.
Upgrade complete.
Train for perfection. I'll be there. Let's get to the action. I'll be there.
Unit lost.
I want to blow something up.
Clocked in. Going up. Laying the foundation. What's the story? Made in the US of A. Foundation. Always ready. Doing what's right. We're moving.
Upgrade
That one's
complete.
done. Yes,
Upgrade
sir.
complete.
We fight
Upgrade
for peace.
complete.
Any more
It's the right
projects
thing
to
to
do.
do.
Closing the
Any more
distance.
projects?
Confirmed. Enemies of the free world. Freedom. We're moving. We fight for
Unit
peace.
lost.
You can depend on it. It's the right thing to do. Preserving freedom. It will be an honor. We're moving. Freedom. Closing the distance.
Congratulations, General. You have been promoted. Unit lost.
You can depend on it. Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. Yes, sir. Closing the distance. Yes, sir. Closing the distance. Freedom. Taking her in. We fight for peace. Enemies
Unit
of the
lost.
free world. It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world.
Congratulations,
Yes, sir.
General. You have
It's the
been
right thing
promoted.
to do. Confirmed. Closing the distance. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Want to make some improvements? What's the story? Want to make some improvements? Let's build. Yeah? Made in the US of A.
Keep it clean.
Yes, sir.
Find me a vehicle.
Unit lost.
Polished and ready. Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace, preserving freedom. You can
Unit
depend on
lost.
it. It will be an honor.
All
that
finished.
one's done. All finished. All finished. You can depend on preserving freedom. It will be an honor. Doing what's right. Is there a threat?
Unit lost. Congratulations, General. You
Keep
have
it
been
clean.
promoted.
Confirmed. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. We fight for peace. It will be an honor. We fight for peace. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Depend on it. Closing the distance. Enemies of the free
Unit
world.
lost.
Depend on it. We fight for peace. It's the right thing to do. Freedom. It will be an honor. We're moving. We fight for peace. You can depend on it. We're moving. Confirmed. We
Unit
fight
lost.
for peace. It's the right thing to do. Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. Confirmed. It will be an honor.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. We fight for peace. Yes, sir. Closing the distance. You can depend on it.
Unit lost.
We fight for peace. Enemies of the free world. Taking her in.
Unit lost.
Doing what's right. Closing the distance. Clocked in. On the job. What's the story? New construction?
Unit
Clocked in.
lost.
Freedom. Ooh, can't do that. What's the story? On the job. Is there a threat? Preserving freedom. You can depend on it.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. You can depend on it. Preserving the right thing.
Congratulations, General.
You can
You have
depend
been
on
promoted.
We
Unit lost.
fight for peace. It's the right thing to do. All finished. Preserving enemies of the free world. We're moving. It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world. Confirm. Any more projects? Preserving freedom. Depend on it.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. Preserving freedom. You can depend on it.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Confirmed. It's the right thing to do. Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. It will be an honor.
Unit lost.
It's the right thing to do. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. Yes, sir. Enemies of the free world. Confirmed. It's the right thing to do. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom.
Unit
You can
lost.
depend on it. It will be an honor. Taking her in.
Where do you need me?
Paladin tank in the field. It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world.
Unit lost.
It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace. Yes, sir. It's the right
Unit
thing to
lost.
do. Closing the distance. Enemies of the free world. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world. It's the right thing to do.
Unit lost.
We're moving. Yes, sir. Closing the distance.
Unit lost.
We're moving. Is there a threat? Closing the distance. Protecting our people.
Ready for covert mission.
Closing the distance. Serving. We're moving.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom.
Ready
Unit
for covert
lost.
mission.
Preserving freedom. Let's find a better place. Bring on the scaffolding. Keep it clean.
Unit lost.
Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. Have a job for me?
Ready for covert mission.
Made in the US of A.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. All finished. Preserving
Ready for
freedom.
covert mission.
Doing what's right. Confirmed. Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. You can depend on serving. It will be an honor.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. You can depend on us. We fight for peace. It will be an honor. Enemies of the free world. Confirmed.
Unit lost.
We fight for peace.
Rocket pods are now available, sir.
Preserving freedom. Enemies of the free world. Preserving freedom. You can depend on it. It will be an honor. Yes, sir. Enemies of the
Unit
free
lost.
world. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can depend on it. Preserving. It's the right thing to do. Taking her in. It's the right thing to do.
Unit
For
lost.
peace. Yes, sir. We're moving. Preserving freedom. We fight for peace.
Laser guided missiles are
Closing the
installed.
distance. Enemies of the free world. Closing the distance.
Unit lost.
It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Sorry, I can't build there. Bring on the scaffolding. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Paladin taking the
Any
field.
more
Preserving
projects?
freedom. Preserving freedom. You can depend on it. Preserving. Taking her in. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Taking her in. Freedom. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Enemies of the free world. Preserving freedom. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. We fight for
Unit
peace.
lost.
It will be an honor. Preserving the right thing to do. Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. Freedom.
Find me a vehicle.
Keep it clean.
Anything to
Unit
drive?
lost.
Assuming control.
Preserving freedom. Preserving doing what's right. Closing the distance. You can depend on it.
Unit lost.
We fight for peace. It will be an honor. Closing the distance.
I have experience.
Paladin tank in the field.
Unit lost.
Orders, General?
Keep it clean. Doing what's right. We're moving. Paladin tank in the field. It's the right thing to do.
Unit lost.
Depend on it. Taking her in. We're moving. Taking her in.
I have experience. Assuming control.
Protecting our people. It will be an honor. It's the right thing to do. Is there a threat?
Unit lost.
Polished and ready. We fight for peace. It will be an honor. Confirmed. We fight for peace.
Unit
Closing the
lost.
distance. You can depend on me. We fight for peace. Enemies of the free world.
Unit lost.
It will be an honor. Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace. Paladin tank in the field. Polished and ready. Taking her in. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. It will be an honor.
Unit lost.
Paladin tank in the field. Preserving. Yes, sir. Keep it clean. Preserving freedom is the right thing to do. It will be an honor. It's the
Unit
right thing
lost.
to do. It will be an honor. We fight for peace. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. It's the right thing to do.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Is there a threat? Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Paladin tank in the field. Preserving freedom. Taking her in. Preserving freedom. Confirmed. Preserving freedom. We fight for peace.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. It's the right thing to do. We fight for peace. Preserving. Yes, sir. Preserving. Confirmed.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. 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 Keep it clean. Closing the distance. Preserving confirmed. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Taking her in. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
We're moving. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Confirmed. We're moving. Taking her in. Closing the distance. Freedom. Confirmed. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Enemies of the free world.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. It's the right thing. Preserving freedom. Taking her in. Enemies of the free world.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Preserving. Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. You can depend on it.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
moving. Taking her in. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace. It will be an honor. It's the right thing to do.
Unit lost.
We're moving. Is there a threat? Taking her in.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving
Unit
freedom.
lost.
Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Keep it clean. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Is there a threat? Taking her in. Preserving freedom. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. We fight for peace.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Confirm. Preserving freedom. Closing the distance. Enemies of the free world. We're moving. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Closing the distance. Taking her in. Serving firm. It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. Preserving freedom. It's the right thing to do. It will be an honor. And on preserving freedom, we fight
Unit
for peace.
lost.
It will be an honor. Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace. Taking her in. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Preserving closing freedom. The distance. Preserving it's the right thing to do. Preserving we're moving. Polished and ready. Taking her in. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Doing what's right. Taking her in. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. Closing the distance. Taking her in. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Taking her in. Yes, sir. We fight for peace.
Unit lost.
We fight for peace. Serving freedom. It will be an honor. Preserving freedom. We fight for peace.
Unit lost.
It's the right thing to do. Serving freedom. We fight for peace. Preserving freedom. We fight for peace.
Unit lost.
Preserving freedom. Paladin taking the field. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Protecting our people. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Confirmed.
Unit lost.
Is there a threat? Taking her in. Protecting our people. Taking her in.
Unit lost.
Keep it clean. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Polished and ready. Freedom. Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. Is there a threat? Freedom. Closing the distance. Freedom. Polished and ready. Freedom. Confirmed. Paladin tank in the field. Preserving freedom. Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Keep it clean. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Polished and ready. Preserving freedom. Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Confirmed. Taking her in. We fight for peace. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Yes, sir. Closing the distance. Preserving freedom. It's the right thing to do.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Preserving freedom. You can depend on it. Closing the distance. We fight for peace. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. Preserving freedom. We're moving. Preserving freedom. Is there a threat? We're moving. Polished and ready. It will be an honor.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
It's the right thing to do. Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace. Taking her in. It will be an honor. Keep it clean. We fight for peace.
Unit lost.
Enemies of the free world. We're moving. It's the right thing to do. Fight for peace. It will be an honor.
Unit lost.
We fight for peace. Enemies of the free world. We fight for peace. We're moving. We fight for peace. It's the right thing to do. Depend on it. We fight
Unit
for peace.
lost.
Depend on it. Closing the distance.
Find me a vehicle. Anything to drive?
Protecting our people. Keep it clean.
Pilot of the USA, assuming control. Fire it up. Sure beats walking. Assuming control.
Doing what's right. It's the right thing to do.
Smooth and sleek. Surveying the area.
Gunship reporting in.
Unit lost.
Protecting our people.
Gunship
Depend
reporting
on it.
in.
We're moving.
Gunship reporting in. Yes, sir. We're going in. Gunship reporting in. In the field. Got you covered. Gunship reporting in. Comanche here. Making a sweep. In the field. Making a sweep. Gunship destroyed. Frequency's open. Operation underway. Gunship reporting in. Comanche here. Flying low. Visibility clear. Gunship reporting in. Nav system set. Visibility clear.
Polished and ready.
Gunship reporting in.